Welcome to the short lecture series. This is a series of lectures by guest presenters concentrating on Earth expansion, paleogravity, or related subjects. The programme of planned lectures can be seen at the webpage dinox.org/lectures. Our lecture today is by Vedat Shehu. The lecture outlines the theory of the Earth's growth from a cosmic kernel transformation. Vedat is well known for promoting Earth expansion in a range of publications, such as this book, The Earth's Core, an Energetic Cosmic Object. Vedat is a professor, doctor, and engineer. After receiving his doctoral degree in 1959, he was engaged in ore research and has focused on different problems of the dynamic Earth. He has participated in many scientific activities, from mapping to the international workshops. So I'll pass you over to Vedat now.
Thank you, Stephen. I will be sharing the screen. Okay, great. Well, thank you again, and again, good morning or good afternoon, depending where you are. My name is Jim Moll. I'll be reading this concise presentation today, prepared by Vedat Shehu. I am Vedat's son-in-law, and as I mentioned, he has some difficulty hearing, and his spoken English is not sufficient probably to carry a video call here with you today. He asked me to do this. I'm not a scientist, so I will probably mispronounce some of the technical terms here. Also, I will not be able to answer any questions here for you today directly, but please email all the questions that you may have to Stephen, and Vedat will email back the answers. So now more about Vedat and his geotheory.
You may want to click slideshow in the upper menu. That will fill the entire window with the slide, and we won't see the preview slides. Now, yeah, from beginning. There you go. That
Thank
should
you.
do it. Yes.
All right, so I'll get started here. So, Vedat is an Albanian American. He graduated as an engineering geologist in former Czechoslovakia in 1959. After a dozen years, when he studied the granite load within bezels of Theolites belt, he observed the lack of radiation, of deficiency of radioisotopes, and considered it as insufficiency of the radiated heat in Earth's interiors. Later, he evaluated the composition of the core not as an inert precipitate, but as an energy structure, and he began to study and found the cosmic kernel, cosmic core kernel, another factor as the Earth's source of energy. He published in 1988. Already tested, processed, and published several times, the wave corpuscular fluxes of energy released by the cosmic core kernel has become geotheory on a planet in galaxy named Earth. This presentation, I'm going to go slide by slide, and I'll be talking. Each slide has a title, and I'll be pretty much reading through that slide. This one is Vedat's view on Earth as a planet within a galaxy. Starting from reality, Earth is positioned within the Milky Way. He observed the process that causes geodynamic phenomena as those occur in a planet inside the galaxy, and concluded that Earth's inner energetic source is originated from galactic processes causing formations, such as the following. Just 1 second. Such as the following: planetary systems, black holes, supernova, low cosmic radiations, brown dwarfs, remote planets, etc. Consequently, an advanced scholar in geoscience is a scholar in planetology of a planet within galaxy. Naturally, this conclusion rejects the crystallized cosmological concept of the constant Earth size, as if the Earth was formed as an agglomerate globe like a tiny orb of comet head. Such fixed size interpretation of the stony origin of Earth's sphere with an inactive precipitated core is obsolete theory with defects in its basic arguments that are: 1. Standard theory does not explain the real factor that triggered the clone nebula to swirl, rotate, and transit its material into objects of planetary disk of the solar system. 2. Cosmophysicists calculated that standard sources of energy can produce magically 50% of the energy that is radiated by Earth into space, and the source, in order to fill a deficit of 50%, remains an open problem of unanswered question. 3. The standard hypothesis suggests wrongly that the Earth's core is an inert precipitate. Consequently, these defects reinforce the core kernel as factor of Earth's growth. Growth of oceanic crust. Here in this figure is expressed the well-known ratio of the oceanic mafic lithosphere crust with the top basalt layer to all mafic layer with top granitic layer of drifting continents, 60% on 40% to 40%. The continual growth of the ocean lithosphere by upcoming and stiffening magma cannot be a reversible process, as is expressed by mobile theory of plate tectonics and by criticism of the other new immobile theories, still supporters of oceanization. Sorry. On contrary, this is unreversible phenomenon and points to continuity of magma production in Earth's interiors from the galactic factor, exactly as it was determined by me, ultra-thin, magma being an ultra-thin, ultra-dense core kernel in spontaneous disintegration in atom decay, and there's molecule releasing energy that causes Earth to grow, manifested in surface as superficial appearance of the growth that occurs inside. Formation of theolites in albanites of a sample of Earth's permanent growth. In albanites, the mafic crust along rift valleys is formed of ophilitic rocks. Entire oceanic crust is ophilitic. Similarly, the penetration of the mafic mass forming theolite belts without top granitic layer within the crust of continents, it is widely expressed phenomenon in all continents, and this phenomenon here in this figure drawn by the dot as sample of Albanian theolites in order to demonstrate the lithosphere growth without top granitic layer as permanent process of the Earth growth. And like theolite belts, There are some other zones of mafic crust known as traps uncovered by granitic layer, evidence of continual growth as well. In this slide, Vedat wanted to talk about the difference between the notions of growth and expansion. So, in this figure is expressed that notion growth does not mean expansion. And the concept difference is drawn here to demonstrate that a fruit and a trunk grow by inner processes of matter transformation as earth grows by a core kernel transformation, whereas a whole inflates or expands by an outer act that, according to the concept of Earth's origin as an agglomerate sphere, as the stormy comet had, can neither grow nor expand. In addition, the fact that Earth growth has been proven by Emmanuel Perry, published under title The Expanding Earth, and reinforced by many proponents, but the growing process is considered of the outer unknown cosmic cause, whereas the core kernel of mind specifies expansion by inserting the cause inside the Earth's core. This is a substantial difference between both notions. Earth's core energetic structure consequence of core kernel function. This figure presents molten mass of the outer liquid core that is molten geosphere and has function of magma's reservoir in dynamic equilibrium. Its outcome mass dominantly is directed upward, crossing transitory layer D, which causes growth of the core silicate shell, and a fragmentary mass moving inward, crossing transitory layer F, which causes growth of inner core G. This process indicates presence and function of ultra-dense core kernel in spontaneous disintegration that must be positioned as ultra-thin screen between two cores, drawn here by the circular interrupted line. Thus, the outgone mass from magma's reservoir is replaced by disintegration of the core kernel. Core kernel being an ultra-thin screen is relatively indescribable by the speed of the seismic waves, but the fact that inner core rotates around its axis in 24 hours faster than the entire Earth, about a fraction of the second, and fulfills a day after about 360 years. This difference points to the core kernel's existence that divides Earth in two rotating spheres. Probably, it belongs to two axes, geographic and magnetic. Calculation of core kernel mass. Vedat found discrepancy in calculating of the mass of the core, and consequently, he found reducing its common mass nearly about 40% of the core's mass, or about 12% of the Earth's mass, that belongs to unexhausted mass of core kernel. Schematic presentation of the formation of the Atlantic. In this figure is explained by the process of growth. In upper part A is shown sequential formation of the basaltic belts, starting since split of continents from both edges of continents toward mid-oceanic ridge. In lower part B is shown the beginning of growing process in small Earth, mainly upward, going molten mass, starting from magma's reservoir and outgoing molten is replaced from core kernel transformation. Arrows point the motion of the molten mass mainly outward and partly inward. Simulation formation orientation towards outflow. Here on this figure 7, the Earth globe purposely oriented by Vedat towards South Pole in order to better view of the Earth's internal growing process that is correlated with the sequential basaltic belts of oceanic crust as are drawn above in figure 1 and 6, formed from opposite continental edges to mid-oceanic ridges. Simultaneously, with sequential formation of the spherical layers from beneath lithosphere up to above the molten outer core. The arrows indicate the direction of outgoing molten mass and penetrating inside the solid viscous mantle, disrupting the successive stratified layers of the growth by similar penetration and stiffening magma within lithosphere. View of the inert geodynamic phenomenon. This figure demonstrates that mantle plumes are not heat flow as commonly is interpreted, and depicts the conveyed molten mass through the mantle plumes, and penetrating into lithosphere is accumulated and becomes the foci of the volcanoes. The different accumulation of mass between bordering tectonic blocks, slabs or legs, causes by the gravitational disequilibrium and the resultant of the acting forces, as is drawn in the figure, causes the tectonic displacement and replaces normal gravitational equilibrium of the Earth's sphere geoid. This is the way movement of the rock of the crust blocks occurs. Example, tectonic slabs or plates, known as tectonic movement, causes folding, crust thrusting, and earthquakes. Earthquake shock is accompanied by signals and interfere with some physical fields resulting from the core kernel disintegration, such as the emanation of particles, subparticles, and nuclei of helium-3, disturbance of the local Earth's physical fields in moments before seismic shock. Peculiarities of planet Mercury, a symbol of core kernel functioning galactic object. In this figure is showing peculiarity of Mercury with very weak magnetic field, about 1.1% of the Earth's magnetic field, and with the presence of an outer, very thin center spherical layer in molten state, which is remnant of the large outer core covering the unusual large solid inner core, about 75% of Mercury's radius. Even the common historic volcanoes, as the other silicate plants, is manifested presence of core kernel in exhausting phase of disintegration, exact characteristics of core kernel activity, evidence exhausted in the past or currently in the process of transformation. The intensive transformation of core kernel in the large planets with unusual thick gas cover is identified by their strong radiation, especially expressed by strongest magnetic field, about 20 times of Earth's magnetism. At Jupiter, and even by intensive volcanism, the transformation of core kernel is manifested at the Jupiter's moon, Io. Even the planets orbiting very center of binary stars were developed by the same way as every common planetary system orbits a star, whereas potentially remote of rogue planets are developing independently by their own core kernel. Similarly, brown dwarfs with much bigger mass than the largest planet, having not illumination even as small as stars, and with intensive internal radiation, are assessed as transitory bodies between planets and stars, must have their core kernel as well. The sun, a gigantic core inside overheated gas cover. In this figure, observing the sun's overheated atmosphere, this unexpected phenomenon, surprisingly risen temperature in lowest level of corona over 250 times of temperature on photosphere, concluding that from sun and Earth's core are released the same wave corpuscular fluxes of energy of the physical fields and sun's Earth wave interference, obliged Vedat to determine sun as an ultra gigantic core covered with overheated gases, while the core as sun-like star in miniature covered stony silicate shell. The sun must have its gigantic core kernel. Furthermore, observing the sun, we can understand Earth's core better. Conclusively, as in Earth, core kernel is functioning in all galactic objects, in planets of the planetary systems, remote planet stars, and in the transitory planet-star object as brown dwarfs. The origin of the core kernel and our planetary system formation. Impossibility of the heat generation from radioisotopes is improbably manifested even with some variant out of the reality of Earth's inner process is, of course, improbable. In this figure, the sketch representing the planetary system formation according to my geo of core kernel formation through ultra-dense nanoglobules integration, originating from a big intragalactic explosion of massive ultra-dense object, causing supernova phenomenon of unusual radiation that is accompanied by nucleosynthesis, which must be consequence of continuing disintegration of the dispersed ultra-dense nanospherules as scattered remnants of the exploding object. The entering the ultra-dense globules into cosmic nebula is in harmony even by some researchers that interpret the possibility that supernova event might trigger the cosmic nebula to swirl. So this idea finds application by my core kernel that remnants of the supernova are acting within nebula as ultra-dense nanoglobules and became internal factor triggering nebula to rotate and globules accredit into core kernel and causing formation among planets' cores, even Earth core with core kernel inside. The ultra-dense core kernel originating from a big intragalactic explosion thus phase me with Big Bang. Here must be stressed that basis of the hypothesis of Big Bang and the universe expansion was a wrong interpretation of the red shift as real fact into the spectra of the light of the distant galaxies. The phenomenon was supposed as if the red shift It's caused because the galaxies are traveling away from the Earth at a fantastic speed. Later, the important physicists and cosmologists concluded that redshift is a consequence of phenomena occurring within light fluxes during its crossing different environments along an unusual distance of billions of light years. The Big Bang theory is deeply opposed to the universality of matter unity through interaction, and transformation, and is importance of geotheory. Importance of geotheory by growing Earth, a core kernel transformation is, first, it has a particularly significant, in theory, is formulating a new view on universal notions, matter transformation, expanding universe, and Earth's origin and its development. Second, it can be applied in practical research such as towards hydrocarbons formed by direct synthesis as all molecular compounds of oxygen in silicates, specifically with silicon and water when is deficiency of oxygen and sufficiency of carbon, atoms of hydrogen and carbon synthesized together. Research importance is even towards Philip Bells argued that are formed in their places and are not the cliffs of nappes as are explained by plate tectonics along Alp, Himalaya, or origin. So the research perspective of the one sources of light belts is raised toward depth. Conclusion: within the scope of this concise presentation, it has become possible to be argued that Earth's growth through the real presence, function, and the origin of the transformable cosmic core kernel, as well as by the real documentation of the defects of the cosmological theory of the Earth's fixed size, consequently based in such arguments, the following conclusions can be drawn. It becomes a necessity that the theorists of the astrophysics and cosmology must consider the Earth's inner process and phenomena as a planet among planets within the galaxy. The Earth's outer core, known to be liquid, is molten mass that represent magma's reservoir in the dynamic equilibrium. The outgone molten mass causing Earth's growth is replaced from the core kernel transformation. The Earth's core should be seen as a star-like sun in miniature with a rocky silicate core, while the sun may be seen as a gigantic core inside a cover of overheated gases. And that concludes the presentation. As I mentioned in the beginning, any questions that you may have, you can send them to Stephen, and then Stephen, you can email them to Vedat, and then Vedat will get back to everyone with the answers. Thank you.
Okay. Well, okay. Excellent. Thank you very much for doing that. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Could you stop sharing the screen now? And I think if you stop sharing the screen, we can. That's it. We can come back and we can see each other now. Right. So it looks like we won't be able to ask you any questions then. I take it at the moment.
It will be difficult probably for me to try to translate it to him, translating the term,
Okay.
and him coming back and translating them in English for me to present here on this video call. It may be very, very difficult.
Yes.
But he will, Vedat will welcome any questions.
Yes. Okay. Well, excellent. Yeah. I can forward all those on to you, Vedat. That's no problem. So I don't know. Did anyone want to make any comments at all then? While we've got Vedat here. No. Doesn't look like
I do have a comment. It's really also a question, and I understand the problems of translation, but it seems to me that Vedat's theory implies that all of the mass that the Earth has and has ever had was originally placed there as the core kernel, and that disintegration, I think he described it as, is what's producing the less dense core and mantle and crust and causing the Earth to expand. Whereas John's theory with the solar wind says that new mass is continuously being introduced into the Earth. Is that a fair characterization, that in Vedat's theory that all of the mass has always been within the Earth and that no new mass is being introduced? That's just my question and comment. I'll write it up and send it to you.
Bill, that's a great question and comment. It'll be nice if you can send a mail out and Vedat will answer it.
Yes.
I wouldn't be able to start translating it for Vedat because Bill, no, they're going questions by mail.
Yes.
They commented by mail.
Excellent. I read in English now well, but to speak bad, very bad.
Okay.
And have a bad pronunciation. Even plain words I pronounce very bad. And when communicate English, no one me understand. And also I don't cut pronunciation of speaking Englishman. It is why I want to question written.
Bill, would that be okay if we follow that process?
Yes, I understand, and I'll be happy to write it up. The question it's a pretty straightforward and not a detailed or complex question. I'll be happy to do that.
Then maybe I can try to translate it to Vedat and we'll get an answer hopefully right now. So the question is the mass of the Earth has been there the same forever?
Yes.
Or
as opposed to new mass being introduced.
Bill Erickson said duke shikuar këtë teorinë tënde, duke shikuar teorinë tënde, kuptoj sikur nxjerr që toka ka pas të njëjtën masë të kohën. Po pyet. Nuk po sa, po pyet.
Po jo për kthehet.
Apo se është një tjetër Geotheory që thotë që
masa e tokës është kompensuar në kernel, në thelbin e përthamës. Thelbi i përthamës edhe sot, si që kam kalkuluar unë, përmban 40% të masës së përthamës. Dhe kjo transformohet në element kimik dhe rrezatim. Do me thënë, zvogëlohet masa e kernelit, kthehet në atome molekulare, masë dhe rrezati. Brenda tokë, siç ndodh në diell, por jo nga bërthamat e hidrogenit, por nga një materje e shtrëngjeshur që prodhon hidrogen dhe helium, edhe gjithë elementet kimik.
Ai po pyet nëse masa e tokës që ka qëndruar në jetë,
po ta thash pra, masa e tokës, atom molekulare, bërthama e brendshme, bërthama e jashtme dhe mulesa silikate shtohen me mas atom molekulare. Kurse thelbi i bërthamës nuk është atom molekulare, po është mas para atom molekulare. E shtrëngjeshur si yje neutronik, si e vrimave të zeza teorike. Because it's difficult to communicate by translation. I hope you can understand my pronunciation. Mass of Earth is in two states. Mass of kernel, co-kernel, and mass atom molecular mass. That is mass of outer core in molten state, inner core in solid state, in silicate core in solid state. This molten mass is transformed in solid mass. And co-kernel that has 40% of mass of core, that is not atom molecular core, but is mass similar as neutron star, as black hole, is transformed into atom molecular mass and radiation. This is essence of my kernel theory. The essence that unificates Earth processes with galactic processes that are formed through matter transformations from ultra-dense state to normal state. Radiation, that is wave corpuscular matter of energy and physical fields. Then, atom molecular species. It is that ultra-dense matter is transformed in atoms of periodic table. Atoms of the periodic table are transformed in molecules. and in very vascular presence and physical fields, even gravity, magnetism, radiation or other radiation are matter. This is unification of matter transformation, well known in every field of universe. It is to see Earth as it is in reality within galactic. Earth is objects in galaxy. Earth is not object Earth, and inside of celestial bodies. Earth is body in galaxy, and I see Earth as a planet within galaxy, not out of galaxy. And Earth reflected, I integrate in Earth, I integrate processes in matter of galaxy. This is my essence of theory, geotheory. It's a geotheory of planetology. I hope you understand me.
Yes, I thank you very much. That's what I thought you said. You mentioned that the core is super dense and is like the equivalent of a neutron star. It's super dense neutrons, and that breaks down, and that conventional atoms or molecules form from that disintegration of this super dense core. That's what I heard during the lecture, and I think you just confirmed that.
Yes, so. yes, that's what. Yeah.
But I'll still send you an email. I'll send it to Steve and pass it along.
It is not core super dense. It's kernel of core.
Understood.
Kernel
Yes.
of core is a sphere, a screen between both cores.
I understand. Yes, thanks.
And sun is gigantic core. And helio kernel. Next has not ultra dense protons. This mass inside the sun is kernel of sun.
Yeah.
Ultra dense kernel of sun, not ultra dense hydrogen.
Додатковий імейн інженерства. Екоптай, інженерство додатковий імейн.
No.
Екоптай, інженерство додатковий імейн.
Thank you. I like to speak by written, to communicate by written, conversation by written conversation. For all, because this is unusual theory. My theory is unusual. Since I began to study Earth as planet, I imaginate cosmic reaction within Earth, and concluded that this reaction must be a screen between two cores. But this conclusion is for long work of me to study all possible materials that I have in this position in libraries in Albania. And I connected even with literature, when I began I was in process to write my theory. I was known even carry work the expanding Earth. And some work of Soviet researcher.
Yeah.
So to add this, I began to study this way when I studied a granite lobe between basalts. The basalt is upper strata of ocean. And the upper strata of granite are granite. And contact with granite and basalt I studied intensively by myself. And this way I began to study why this granite is between basalt. This is practical problem to solve. But this practical problem was connected with ocean, continent, and cosmic dust. Cosmic dust is connected with Earth, comets, and all planets, and I connected even with stars. And stars are matter of galactic and galaxies. To study geology, theoretical geology, is the same as to study a planet in galaxy. Not the planets of galaxy are not sky body. If planets are sky body, even Earth is sky body, because sky celestial sphere is inexistent. Even Big Bang is a sphere that is grown. It is primitive thing with reasoning by scientific basis. Is wrong way. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for actually telling us all about the theory and presenting the lecture, Vedat. I think it's great that we can all come together with this new technology and all listen to it. I think we've finished there, have we? I don't think we've got any more comments or questions, and we're gonna, if you forward them to me, I'll forward them on to Vedat. I think I don't know. Do you want to say anything about you're going to be interviewed this Saturday, aren't you, John? So we've got quite a sort of a busy activity, haven't we, at the moment?
Yeah. Well, are you going to be listening in on Saturday?
Well, yeah, Saturday is a bit bit of an awkward day for me, unfortunately, but I'll catch up with it later, certainly.
Very good. Yeah, I wanted to wish everybody season's greetings. So have a good Christmas season, Hanukkah, or whatever have you, or New Year, because we won't be getting together here before next year, right, Stephen?
No, yeah, Richard Guy has he's provisionally said he'd give us a talk about his concept that actually the oceans are actually changing due to the expanding Earth. So so he's provisionally down for the 14th of January. Yes.
Richard didn't. Is he the individual from Jamaica? He grew up in Jamaica or
Yes,
one of the Caribbean islands?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so I think again he's been a supporter of Earth expansion for many years, and certainly I think he was going to go to the Expanding Earth conference over in the very first one, but he was telling me he didn't actually make it to that one for various reasons. So. But certainly he's been a supporter for many years, so so hopefully we can get him. Yes, I think probably, as you say, I think all that remains is for me to wish you everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. As you say, we won't be getting together now until the new year, and we've just had the first bit of our vaccines being rolled out in the UK.
Yes.
So,
are you, Stephen, are you passing yourself off to be a 85 or 90-year-old person?
That's it, a 90-year-old, see if I can get in the front of the queue. Yes, so so hopefully, if hopefully by the new year we should have all some good news, I think, and
yeah, big changes, big changes.
Think we can all
new year, new president.
Yes.
We are within galaxy. We together are within galaxy. With this, we must understand. If we see Earth outside of galaxy, the galaxy is sky, is difficult. Galaxy is Big Bang. And we see of center Big Bang, we see Big Bang. This is sky. Sky is inexistent. Is space. And space has not boundary. Space is continuity. Complex of galaxies, system of galaxies, many systems of galaxies in space. Observed space is with diameter, with radius about 45 billion light years. This is observed universe, our universe. It's not Earth. It's not galactic. Galactic is one particle in space. Thank you. I am very much satisfaction to communicate with you, but my friend Jan Kozar not talk, not ask, because I like Poland. I have
Thank you.
Polish friends in Czech Republic there, and students were students, not much, but were some Polish students there in school by me. And I worked with a Polish geologist that works in Albania, Adam Kotas. Alban Kotas, with his wife, was geologist, both Eva Kotas. Do you know Adam Kotas?
Yes, I know him. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Another question for me.
Don't do it.
My practice in Czech Republic was in platform, in continent. And I work in Albania in Euclid. Always works in contact with continentals. That overhead belt is sample that is grown earth, because two parts between orbits are distanced from theirs. Between these parts penetrate ophiolic belts. And in Poland have not ophiolic belts. In Czech Republic. Again, Phil, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Vedat, for doing
Thank you, especially thank you, Stefan Hurel, for this organization. You are excellent man for me. Excellent colleagues, best colleagues. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, and let's hope we can have a few more really good lectures as well. That sort of, I think the main thing is it gets us all together and all thinking about it, doesn't it? And all so we can all see what everybody else is sort of the direction that other people are coming from, and why, you know, what they're thinking, I think, as well. Sort of, I think it all helps. So I think I may as well wrap it up there then, unless anybody has any comments. No, I don't think so. So I'll wrap it up there, and as I say, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hopefully we shall all get together then in the new year. So cheerio.
Cheerio.
Don't do it.